It's Miles McGuire with the Warrior King, and today I want to talk a little bit about the state of affairs, I would say, I guess, in our nation. And we're here in the United States, and I keep hearing a lot of people talk about the politics and the presidential stuff and this is into that and I hear a lot of stuff now because not too terribly long ago we had the shooting in Orlando, and everybody's up in arms about we should do this or we should do that or these people are that or and whatever. I'm not going to get into the details of it as most of you are aware of what happened, but what I did want to talk about is the gathering, is Yahweh's people getting together, and it's what I wanted to talk a little bit about is we find ourselves in Babylon, I guess is no better way to say it. I mean, we've turned, this nation has turned completely away from Yahweh and for everything that He stands for, and I believe, my personal opinion is this is all just on purpose, and I don't necessarily know if it's the pure evil, but evil is making this happen because mankind has turned away, and they're not seeking Him, as they should and as they once did. And but one of the things I was going to do today is I'm just going to briefly go over the 10 commands, and we'll just talk a little bit about how these are just the 10 commands. It's not going into the entire list of things that are in the Torah, but because I don't think a lot of that applies to this land. I think it applies to another place that I've talked about extensively. But these are the commands that mankind are just supposed to live with. And He tells us if we turn back to the command, keep the commands, that He will let us go back home. And pretty soon there's not going to be any other place for us. And I think that's on purpose, because we're not going to belong here because we'll be outcasts. We don't believe like everyone else, so they'll make us either kill us or try to round us up in groups and do away with us. But we've got something they don't have, and they'll never be able to do it. But I think this is all a preamble to us getting ready to go back into the land, because that's the focal point of everything I believe. And so we might as well just get to it. What I was thinking here, we'll just, like I said, I'm just going to read quickly through the commands, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. All right, let's see. You have no other mighty ones against my face. Well, it means you worship nothing else, and America has gone completely away from that. They worship themselves and movie stars and football, baseball athletes, and everything and anything but Him. So that's the first one. Do not make yourself carved images, any likeness in which is the heaven above and the earth beneath, or which is in the waters or in the earth. Actually, I'm reading from Deuteronomy 5. It started at 7. And I'll just read now. I'll just do the ones from Deuteronomy because they're all just centrally located. All right, making yourself carved images. Let's see, we've got all kind of carved images everywhere. Everywhere. All our heroes, we carve images and leave them there. We got, huge obelisks in Washington, D.C. We have the apotheosis of George Washington is in our Capitol building. If you don't know what that means, just look it up. The apotheosis of George Washington. Just do it up. Look it up. Do a Google search, and it'll tell you what it's about. All right. Do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. I am jealous, visiting the crooked of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. So when you do worship this other stuff, He thinks that you hate Him. So you do. And when it says to bow down and worship them, it's to humble yourselves before them and give them a place of esteem above anything else, above yourself. And that's what we do with everything. We do that with, well, not all of us, but America. This is America, and I am part of America. I've given quite a bit to this nation, so I can claim it, and I can say what I feel. All right, let's see here. Now we're going to go on 5:10 here. But showing kindness to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. Guard my commands. You're not bringing the name of Yahweh Elohim to naught, which means that you do not forget it. We have forgotten it. I mean, it's just here recently where people actually started calling upon His name again. So But no, it's coming back, but we're not there. For Yahweh does not leave him unpunished who brings his name to naught. It's to disrespect it, to blaspheme it, to forget it. All right, 12. Guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahweh your Elohim commanded you. That, Sabbath is Saturday, and we should, and that's, I observe Saturday Sabbath. We do no work. We do as commanded. But some people I know through my life have kept Sunday as a Sabbath, and they did it the way he said. Whether we're wrong or right, I think, we're getting toward the ends now, and I think the knowledge is more abound, but, I think if you keep Shabbat the way he tells you to keep Shabbat, to the best of your knowledge and the best of your ability, I don't know how he'll ever hold that against you. So he's going to set this all right when he comes back and reestablishes his kingdom. I mean, that's just the way it is, because I wish I could find that one verse I just looked. I should have wrote it down. But anyway, let's keep going. Yeah, 6 days you labor, and you shall do your work. But on the 7th day is a Shabbat, is Sabbath, of Yahweh your Elohim. You do not do any work. Nor your son, your daughter, your male servant, female servant, ox, donkey, cattle, strangers, male servants, female servants, rest, as do you. Everything. So anybody who works for you, rest. Anything. You don't go to restaurants because they have to serve you. So just rest, relax, enjoy with your family, read some scripture. Turn off the damn television set. Alright. Here we go. Alright. Respect your father and your mother as Yahweh your Elohim has commanded you, so that your days are prolonged and so that you're well with the soil which Yahweh your Elohim has given you. There you go. Respect your mother and father. Do we do that today? Golly, I see kids in the malls and stuff all but hitting their parents. It's just insane the way people speak. Children speak to their parents now. But it's the society that we have created. And that's what I'm saying. Yahweh is gone. He is not allowed in our society. Do not murder. They murder everywhere. Everywhere. Our country, our government murders people. The woman running for president right now kills people for fun, I think. Do not commit adultery. That's rampant. And we just know that because of, what was that? Ashley Madison, I think it was the name of it, not too long ago. I don't know how many millions of people were on that. And that's all about adultery. Just married people getting with married people. You do not steal. Our government steals from us. We steal from each other. Do not bear false witness against your neighbor. I mean, our government bears false witness all the time. There's people that go to jail out of pure innocence just because somebody bore false witness or something bore false witness. You do not covet your neighbor's wife. That's everywhere. You do not desire your neighbor's house, his fields. I mean, people do that every day, all day. And there is the 10. So they completely abominate all 10. So that's how I know that this is no longer a nation of Yahweh. And everybody keeps saying, oh, if we just vote in the right person or this, that, or the other, it's not going to matter. Because, I agree with some of the things that Steve Quayle says, and I don't agree with some of them. But one of the things he says that I do firmly agree with is there is no political solution to a spiritual problem. And that is a fact. But I don't see that spiritual problem ever getting fixed. It can't. It won't. It doesn't. It gains no ground. The truth gains no ground. So we are in the position that we find ourselves in. But some of the other things I wanted to talk about, because that's it. I mean, that's our nation is no longer hospitable to people who, put Yahweh first, and Yeshua. Anybody who walks in his ways and tries to be a righteous person, there is no longer room for you in this country. And we can see that every time now we're starting to see people who get up and pray in public places, and they're escorted out by the police officers. Now you can get up and rattle off something to Muhammad, nobody says a word to you. But you get up and you say something about Yahweh, or God, or Jesus, or Yeshua, No time, no tolerance. So that's where we're at. And our nation has rejected him. So he will reject our nation. And so we're going to see things coming on here really soon that are really, really nasty. And whether or not you choose to be a part of what happens, of the result, is one thing. So there's going to be, he will take care of his righteous, but he's not going to take care of those who are not. But there's a couple other things I wanted to read, and it kind of goes along with that, because this is where we're going to find ourselves if we're not careful. And that's his people, the people who think that they're his people. This is your modern Christians and Catholics, and I call them fair weathers because they're not really into it. All you do is pick up your Bible and you'll understand that everything that man talks about coming out of the pulpit is meant to deceive you and to control you. I've said it before, religion is the opiate of the masses. It is control. Control, control, control. It is not about you gaining a closer walk with the one who created you. It's about how they can control and manipulate you. It's all about money, actually. It's all it is. So. But here's Jeremiah 4:22. For my people are foolish. They have not known me. They are stupid children, and they have no understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. So we're getting into this common thing here is going to be knowledge. Is knowledge of him, and knowledge of the ways, knowledge of what we're supposed to be doing. And what is knowledge? We'll get to that. But here's Proverbs 1-7. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge. There you go. And what is fear? It's reverence. It's in awe of the majesty and the perfection that he is. It's loving him to a point where you'll do what is desired of him for you, so that you may walk with him. That's the whole reason for this thing. But in here's Hosea 4:6. I know everybody out there has heard this verse, but they've only heard the first line of this verse, and I will read the whole thing to you. This irritates the hell out of me every time somebody does this. Steve Coyle is horrible about this. It's Hosea 4:6. My people have perished for lack of knowledge. And that's where everybody stops. But let's continue, because this is the same verse. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being a priest for me. Since you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim, you have forgotten the instructions of your Elohim, I also forget your children. I wonder why they don't read the rest of that. This is Proverbs 22:33. I got to reading this, and this really pretty much sums it up. This is where we're at. I mean, and it's interesting how Yahweh keeps calling his people simple ones and not very bright, and it's got to be frustrating for what he showed these people, and still have them backpedaling and falling away. It's just horrible. But anyway, here's Proverbs 22:33. How long, you simple ones, would you love simplicity, and shall scoffers delight in their scoffing? And fools hate knowledge. Turn at my reproof. See, I pour out my spirit on you. I make my words known to you because I called and you refused. I have stretched out my hand and no one inclined. And you spurned all my counsel and would not yield to my reproof. Let me also laugh at your calamity. Mock when your dread comes. When your dread comes like a storm, and your calamity comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, let them then call on me. Let them then call on me. But I will answer not. Let them seek me, but not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. They did not accept my counsel. They despised all of my reproof. Therefore, let them eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own counsel. For the turning away of the simple slays them, and the complacency of fools destroys them. But whoever listens to me dwells safely, and is at ease from the dread of evil. That pretty much sums it all up to me, because it's. But that's where we're at, folks. And this nation is not what it once was. It's not even what it was when I was a child. Actually, I don't even think it was what it was when I decided I wanted to serve our nation in the armed services. And I don't know what's happened in the last few years other than he must be getting us ready to go back to the promised land. Is all I can figure. So he makes it so much. It's so much turmoil here that we're seeking another place, and until we figure out what that is, we're kind of stuck. But it's all about going back to the promised land, because it's when he says, "You turn and walk in my ways, I will bring you home." So that's what we're trying to. That's what I'm trying to accomplish, because I'm ready to go home. I want to go home. I want to go someplace where my family will be safe and we get to do all the wondrous, awesome things that he talks about that we get to do. And but since we're here in exile, his people, what do we do? What do we do now? What do we do next? What do we do in a place where we no longer belong? In a place where we're scorned no matter what? You know, we are now the enemy. And what do we do? But I believe, and there's a few other guys that I've listened to that we're all starting to turn the same direction. I believe, and it's our petty differences we can no longer allow to keep us divided. You know, I know, especially in the new Torah movement, as it is, so to speak, and what we're doing now, a lot of people are turning back to the commands and understand the significance of it and what it's truly about. And but you know, we have a lot of rifts. There's people that don't keep the same calendar. There's people who, you know, the moons are different, or the pronunciation of the master's name keeps them. There's lunar. I mean, that's lunar Sabbatarian. There's all kind of different things. There's two seed line doctrines. There's Nephilim. There's you just name it. There's flat Earth. I mean, you name it. There's and every one of those little things is turning into a subcult, or not a cult, but a sub group of the greater group. And we've got to stop all that stuff. I mean, it's that nobody knows that stuff for sure, but it's all based on the foundation of keeping the commands and the witness of Yeshua. I mean, if that is your foundation, then we just group together and move out. I mean, that's just because the other differences are philosophical differences. They're not, as everybody says, salvation issues. But we've got to start to band together, because that's the only way this is ever going to work out. We've got to, because together we can stand up and do what needs to be done, go where we need to go. But divided, they'll just carve us out and just cut us down to nothing. They'll just bury each individual piece, because they'll just keep, you know, every little one they'll just gather together and they'll turn us each against each other, and we'll just, a house divided cannot stand. So we have to trust in Yahweh that He's going to do the right thing by us, and let's just move out. If we could do that, it'd be a fantastic thing. Let's just read the scriptures together. I know we'll have opinions, and let's just if we want to have discussions about it, that's fine and all means and good. But let's not get disheartened and split. We just can't do that. Let's just not do that, because that's what everything wants. They want us, if Yahweh's house is divided, it can never be formed again, and we can't ever do the things that He wants us to do. So it's time. It's time for us to get together. To hell with the differences, and let's move out. Let's go, folks. It's frustrating. It gets so frustrating when you see all the numbers of people that are awakening, but they just get so divided by these little trivial, nitpicky nothings that just, you're like, really, that's that big of a deal to you, and so you'll just cut out and go do something else, and whatever. It's something. It truly is something. But it's coming, folks. We're at the end. I'm afraid we're at the end of the age, but we need to band together if we want to make it out of this alive. If you want your children to make it out of this alive, if you want to see the New Jerusalem, as I do, with your own eyes, we have to gather together, folks. It's time. We've got to get together. Stop. We got to stop fighting. Stop infighting. Let's focus on the enemy. We are not each other's enemy. We are each other's brothers. I know we're infighting like family, but we got to quit that. We got to turn our focus and focus on the outside. Teach others. We're in our fishing stage, folks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the last message I did. Because Yeshua said, go out and be fishers of men before Yahweh sends the hunters. And I don't know if Yahweh is going to send the hunters to hunt out his people that can't get out, or he's going to send his hunters to hunt down everyone who won't walk in his ways. So, either way, it's about to be hunting season, folks. So let's get together. Let's get together on this, please. Please, please, please. We've got to quit the infighting, folks. Because there are definitely strength in numbers. Remember, like us on YouTube. Subscribe to our page if you haven't. And if you know anybody that's interested, just keep, if you got any comments, just put them in the comment section. We'll get to them. But we're there, folks. It's time that we get together and do this thing. Let's do this thing right. And because our time is short. So thanks again, and thanks for supporting. Keep after it out there, folks. It's uphill from here. But be strong and courageous.